You ever come home from a long, miserable flight, clothes wrinkled, jet-lagged out of your mind, just aching to fall face first onto your own couch, only to find a complete stranger in silk pajamas standing in your foyer and screaming bloody murder? Not kidding. That's how I walked back into my own house. This woman, who, by the way, is wearing my favorite cashmere slippers, starts mashing the panic button on my security system and telling 911 there's a dangerous man in her temporary residence. Me, the actual homeowner, still clutching my suitcase, brain fried from Tokyo time, just staring as this woman acts like she's Nicole Kidman in Panic Room. She's got my guest towels embroidered with her own initials, some kind of pink gold thread. Looked expensive, I'll give her that. The nerve of this lady. That's when it hit me. I'm Miles Danner, quiet software consultant, espresso machine addict, proud owner of an ancient 1920s manor in Hawthorne Point. And I'd just been ousted from my own place by a woman who could probably lead a military coup in a silk robe. Now, Hawthorne Point's not the kind of place where neighbors bake you pies. No, folks here keep their hedges sharper than their personalities. It's all property values, HOA compliance, and whoever's got the best Christmas lights. But Evelyn Stokes? She's in a league of her own. HOA president, self-appointed sheriff, wears a fuchsia visor and rides around in a golf cart named Civility, custom plate, and everything. She's the type to snap photos of your garbage cans if they're out past 7 a.m., like she's working for the FBI. While I was halfway across the world on a consulting gig, I'd missed the signs. Gate code changed. Lights on at weird hours. Fresh lilies and hydrangeas on every table. And then this, Evelyn calling the cops from inside my own house like she'd been paying the mortgage and the air itself belonged to her. If I'd paid attention, maybe I'd have seen it coming. I mean, it started months back. My mailbox kept filling up with courtesy notices. Wreath too large, driveway too shiny. Curtains suggest bachelor squalor. Her words, not mine. She started showing up for wellness checks whenever I left town, claiming the HOA had to protect the community aesthetic. I told her no, thanks, once in person, once in a pretty direct email. Her response? Mark my home as vacant, needs monitoring in the HOA directory. Little red flag and everything. Next HOA newsletter, there's this 2-page spread about the new Guardian Residence program. Basically, we'll put volunteers in your house if you're away, so the neighborhood doesn't look abandoned. Evelyn's face, front and center, grinning like she's running for city council, with stock photos of happy families holding up house keys. So picture me, slurping noodles at 2 a.m. in a Tokyo hotel, debugging some disaster at work when my doorbell cam pops up on my phone. And there's Evelyn, in a rhinestone visor, bossing around movers as they haul in a Peloton and an entire rack of athleisure wear. I actually thought I was hallucinating from lack of sleep. Nope, real life. By day 3, she'd hired a landscaping crew, planting new hydrangeas in the yard. Never asked for that. Day 4, I get a smart home notification. New user profile created, Evelyn's Manor. That's a real thing. Day 6, my sunroom's full of people in tennis whites sipping Chardonnay. Caught it all on my indoor cam. By day 7, Evelyn's bragging on Facebook about her temporary guardian residence, acting like she's doing the whole block a favor. Day 10, my house pops up on a short-term rental site. $300 a night, professional photos ripped straight from my own listing. Gourmet kitchen, original crown molding, spa-like guest suite. 14 days in, I finally get home. Old gate code doesn't work. Call a locksmith, drag my sad, wrinkled self up the steps, and Evelyn standing there dialing 911. You cannot make this stuff up. Minutes later, 2 squad cars pull up, lights strobing through the dusk. Evelyn meets them on the porch in a satin robe and a lanyard with a sparkly HOA badge, like she's cosplaying a cop. Officers, thank God you're here. He broke in. I'm staying here as part of my HOA duties. He's trying to force me out. The sergeant looks at her, then at me, sleep-deprived guy holding a suitcase and folder with my deed. I hand over my license, my house keys. Yep, they still work, plus a folder with every document you could want. Deed, utilities, even a notarized letter from Maria, my housekeeper, who, by the way, Evelyn had turned away a few days earlier. Evelyn whips out this caretaker agreement, supposedly with my signature, except it's Comic Sans and dated the exact day I was in the air over the Pacific. Her signature? Way too perfect, like she traced it off YouTube. She's even got a binder of tenant rights printouts, color-coded tabs, the works, quoting laws about squatters' rights, adverse possession, all that. I'll give her this. Evelyn did her homework. That's when my alarm company calls Officer Patterson's phone. The dispatcher confirms I'm the only authorized user, and system logs show Evelyn's phone changed the lock code 2 weeks ago, disarmed the system 17 times. Patterson raises his eyebrows so high I swear they almost vanished. Evelyn tries to bluster about emergency HOA protocols, but the sergeant just waves her off and starts checking my paperwork. We walk the house together. On the fridge, HOA letterhead, pantry standards, approved snack list. My protein bars donated to those in need. In the kitchen, a chalkboard that reads Evelyn's Manor, Pilates War Room vision board. My mail, opened, sorted, even answered in some cases. Guest room's been staged like a boutique hotel, spa robes, Wi-Fi password on the nightstand, even a guest book with fake Airbnb reviews. My golf clubs? Now community borrowing library, checkout sheet, and all. Toolbox, fishing gear, reorganized, labeled. My vintage records? Boxed up for yoga mat storage. While we're cataloging this insanity, the actual property manager from the rental site shows up. Derek, who looks like he hasn't slept in a week. He spots the listing photos. Yep, all stolen from my old real estate ad. Shows the officer rental payouts, over $4,000 to Hawthorne Point Hospitality, an account under, you guessed it, Evelyn Stokes. She's been paying her golf cart guy, her visor supplier, and something called Community Leadership Consulting Services. The gall. That's when the officers trade that look, the one that says, oh, we're doing this now. Evelyn tries one last speech from the porch. As HOA president, I am legally and morally obligated to inhabit endangered mansions. She's quoting bylaws she wrote herself. Sergeant Rodriguez just sighs and tells her, ma'am, that's not how property ownership works. Patterson reads off the potential charges: burglary, identity theft, criminal trespass, mail tampering, which, heads up, is a federal offense, theft, fraud, filing a false police report. Then they asked her where she got the key. Evelyn claims it's master HOA access. Waves a sheet she typed herself. Press further. She admits she got a driveway contractor to make a copy after telling him I'd approved it. Turns out the contractor kept records. His invoice literally says, HOA president requested key copy. Owner approved. Never saw the invoice. Evelyn had intercepted my mail. When the cuffs finally went on, the neighborhood came out in full force. Folks peering over hedges, phones out, snapping photos. Mrs. Chin next door, clutching her pearls. The Hendersons whispering, even grumpy old Mr. Peterson, arms folded, watching the show. As the squad car door slammed, my doorbell cam chirped, welcome home, Miles. System armed, all zones secure. Couldn't have scripted it better. 3 months and 2 lawyers later, after mountains of evidence, Evelyn takes a plea. Guilty on trespassing, forgery, false police report, pays back the rental money, covers new locks, new mailbox, new security. $8,000 gone. The HOA board, suddenly full of courage now that Evelyn's spell was broken, holds an emergency vote and boots her out as president. Only opposition? A decorative fern she once appointed as assistant parliamentarian. The rest make big speeches about trust and respecting property, pretending they weren't sipping wine in my sunroom all summer. Sentencing day is classic. Judge Martinez, stone-faced, probably seen it all, lets Evelyn start one last community service monologue, then shuts her down with, yes or no, Miss Stokes. Evelyn croaks out, yes, and gets 1 year probation, 200 hours community service at the homeless shelter, explicitly told, you may not claim any ownership, $7,800 restitution, 90 days to pay, and a 5-year ban from any HOA leadership in the entire county. The look on her face, You could see her world collapse, like saying, "But I'm the president." Over and over could somehow erase everything. Judge Martinez just stared at her and said, "Not anymore, Miss Stokes. Not anymore." So, now I gotta ask, have you ever tangled with an HOA gone mad, or someone who decided the rules just didn't apply to them? Where do you draw the line between community standards and straight-up overreach? Drop your stories in the comments. Tell me if you've ever had a fight to reclaim your own life from so-called guardians of the neighborhood. Because trust me, what happens behind those perfectly trimmed hedges? You wouldn't believe half of it. And hey, if you like seeing real justice served, hit subscribe, share your own story, and let's shine a little light on the folks who think they're above it all. Sometimes, the most dramatic thing in the neighborhood isn't the law, it's the people who think they make it.